Chapter 5. Beast. Yi Tian was also stunned. He had never seen a fierce beast, but it was rumored that these creatures were terrifying. They could easily slaughter ordinary people, and the only ones who could deal with them were warriors. Outside the seaside base was a ring of walls, but sometimes the walls couldn't stop the fierce beasts, and occasionally they would rush into the base. There was only one ending for ordinary people when they encountered fierce beasts: death. Come home. Yi Tian thought of his sister, Yi Yu. This place wasn't far from home, and the fragile walls were completely unable to resist the fierce beast. He was very worried about his sister. While running, Yi Tian vaguely saw a silver-white shadow at the end of the street, shuttling continuously, and ordinary people died under its attack. What speed! Yi Tian was shocked. This speed surpassed the reaction speed of the eyes. This was still seen from a distance. If it were close, he was afraid he'd be killed without even seeing the shadow. If I meet this beast, I will die. Yi Tian thought. He wouldn't be stupid enough to think he was the protagonist, that he wouldn't die in any situation. And naturally, he wouldn't be stupid enough to fight with the beast. If you encounter an invincible situation, then flee as soon as possible. Yi Tian wasn't stupid, so he escaped. Unfortunately, his speed was too slow compared to the fierce beast, and the fierce beast seemed to be rushing in Yi Tian's direction. Yi Tian knew that this fierce beast wasn't aimed at him, but if he touched it, it would definitely not mind stretching out its claws to kill him. Evil obstacle. Dare to kill people in the base. Several warriors rushed over under the leadership of a middle-aged man and quickly surrounded the beast. Great! It's the Wind Wolf Hunting Squad! Someone shouted. Wind Wolf Hunting Squad? Yi Tian knew the name of this hunting team. It was a well-known hunting team in his area. The captain of this team had a title called Wind Wolf. He was a master in the late stage of martial arts, and there were more than 10 early or mid-stage martial artists under his command. Seeing that the Wind Wolf hunting team was coming, many people breathed a sigh of relief and even looked excited. Get out of the way! This beast is not simple. Captain Wind Wolf yelled at the people who were watching the excitement around him. Shouted by the captain of the Wind Wolf, many people reacted at this time. The fight between a warrior and a fierce beast was not so easy to watch. If you weren't careful, you would die in the hands of the fierce beast, and even the warriors wouldn't have time to rescue you. Retreat! 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 Everyone retreated, and Yi Tian also retreated far away, but he did not leave. He also wanted to know what the combat power of the martial artist level looked like. Soon, the battle began. Captain Wind Wolf slashed at the fierce beast, and the sword light was very dazzling in the night. It was obviously very powerful. The stone slabs on the street were cut 3 meters long under Captain Wind Wolf's sword. Unfortunately, the beast was too fast to dodge the blow. Such a powerful attack. Even the hard street stone slab has been cut open. If it's cut on a person's body, I'm afraid a person will be split in half in an instant. Is this the power of a warrior? Yi Tian was a little yearning. The warriors of the Wind Wolf hunting team all took out their weapons and fought with the fierce beasts, but their expressions were solemn. Suddenly, a warrior was slapped by the fierce beast, leaving a bloody mark on his chest. Xiaobai. Captain Wind Wolf glanced worriedly, and instead of checking Xiaobai's injuries, he attacked the fierce beast. Although the fierce beast seriously injured one warrior, there were many warriors besieging it, and it was soon injured. Be careful. This brute is going to escape, Captain Wind Wolf shouted. Sure enough, seeing that something was wrong, the beast turned into a silver light and rushed out of the encirclement, trying to flee into the distance. Just then, an arrow came from a distance and hit the beast. Then there was a thud, and the beast fell to the street, revealing its form. It's a silver marten. Yi Tian saw it clearly. This silver marten was 1 meter long, had sharp claws, and red eyes. This silver moon marten has been seriously injured by Xiao Yu's shooting. Everyone, work hard. Kill him. And we don't have to go out to hunt fierce beasts for a month. Captain Wind Wolf said excitedly. Obviously, this silver moon marten was worth a lot of money. The seriously injured silver moon marten was clearly no match for the Wind Wolf hunting squad, but it didn't seem to have given up hope yet. Suddenly, a silver glow erupted from its body, and the momentum of its entire body increased dramatically. Be careful, it stimulates the bloodline and is ready to explode. Captain Wind Wolf roared, alerting the other opponents. Boom! The famous warriors quickly retreated a little distance, lest they be killed by the silver moon marten. But suddenly, the silver marten rushed towards the crowd. The expressions of all the warriors changed drastically, and they understood the plan of the silver moon marten. "You all disperse," Captain Wind Wolf shouted to the crowd in the distance. It's a pity that the speed of the silver moon marten was too fast, and under the explosion of blood, its speed was even higher. How could this group of ordinary people dodge? In a breath, the silver marten rushed into the crowd. There were no moves, just a collision, and ordinary people were knocked into the air, and they didn't know whether they were alive or dead. Abruptly, another arrow was fired, and it was shot by Xiao Yu, a member of the Wind Wolf hunting team who was hiding in the shadows. Poof! The arrow entered the body of the silver marten, passing through its existing wound. The silver marten, which was seriously injured and dying, died completely, and its vitality gradually dissipated. At this time, many people fled one after another, not daring to approach the silver marten. But a young man walked up to the silver marten and gently touched its skin. "Young man, you are so bold that you dare to touch a fierce beast." Captain Wind Wolf walked over and laughed. "The first time I saw the beast, I couldn't help but touch it curiously." The young man said embarrassedly. Captain Wind Wolf nodded with satisfaction. "Kid is good. I see that you are already a martial apprentice. You are already a martial artist at this age. Maybe you are expected to become a martial artist, and when you become one, I'll allow you to become a member of our team." "Thank you, Captain Wind Wolf," the young man said excitedly. The Wind Wolf hunting team didn't linger long, but carried away the corpses of the silver marten and left one by one. And the young man who was chatting with Captain Wind Wolf stood alone on the street and giggled. When the others saw this scene, they all thought that the young man was stupid. How could a warrior break through so easily? Captain Wind Wolf's words were just polite. However, the young man laughed not because of Captain Wind Wolf's words. This young man was none other than Yi Tian. "Haha, I didn't expect the second talent I copied to be from a fierce beast," Yi Tian said excitedly. Chapter 6. When the silver moon marten died, it was less than 3 meters away from Yi Tian. Yi Tian was very panicked at the time. Fortunately, the silver moon marten died, otherwise, he would probably have been killed by it. In short, he was lucky. Seeing that the silver moon marten was dead, he had a whim to launch the replication talent on it and checked it. Beast. Silver moon marten. Bloodline talent. Inferior. Speed talent. Elementary. When he saw this talent, Yi Tian was truly shocked. Fierce beasts mainly rely on bloodlines to evolve, just like human cultivation talents. If you don't have a strong bloodline, you can't become a powerful fierce beast. The silver moon marten only had a second-class bloodline talent. According to Realm, it was at most equivalent to the early stage of a martial artist. But it could easily hit a martial artist, and even the Wind Wolf captain, who was in the later stage of the martial artist, found it tricky. This was all thanks to its other talent, speed talent. The silver moon marten, possessing the talent of speed, had become an incomparably terrifying fierce beast. Otherwise, an ordinary low-level fierce beast, at the same level as a martial artist, where could it withstand the siege of so many martial artists? At this time, once Yi Tian, who had already copied the speed talent, fused it, his speed in the future would far exceed that of the same level, and fighting beyond his level would no longer be a dream. "Go home." Yi Tian ran back in the direction of home. Back at home, Yi Tian had dinner with his sister, and then returned to his room alone, ready to try to fuse talents. Under normal circumstances, other talents besides cultivation talents need to be slowly awakened at the martial artist level. But my copy talent can break this rule, and it should be safe to fuse speed talents, Yi Tian said with a sigh. Whatever, fusion. Yi Tian bit a piece of cloth and began to fuse. Boom! The pain, which was second only to the fusion of the medium cultivation talent, poured into his mind. Yi Tian, who had already been mentally prepared, had to bear it completely. 10 minutes later, the pain disappeared, and a refreshing sensation came over him. Yi Tian knew that he had successfully fused the speed talent. With a thought in his mind, he checked his talent. Human. Yi Tian. Cultivation talent. Medium. Speed talent. Elementary. Because he was too tired, and under the exhaustion of the fierce beast attack before, Yi Tian gradually fell into a deep sleep. Early the next morning, Yi Tian couldn't wait to come to the Academy Grove. At this time, there was no one here. Try your hand at speed. Yi Tian immediately activated his speed talent, and his body moved, rushing into the distance like an afterimage. What speed? Yi Tian was shocked. After testing again and again, he was finally sure that his speed had tripled. Just the elementary talent allowed him to have such a speed, which was almost comparable to the speed of an ordinary martial artist. And as his cultivation increased, his speed would naturally get faster and faster. Legend has it that humans with a variety of talents are the darlings of heaven and earth. And sure enough, I only have a primary speed talent, but I'm afraid I can beat most of the martial apprentices. If I continue like this, I'm afraid it won't be long before I can compete with martial artists. Yi Tian was excited, but he also knew very well that the real foundation was cultivation. If there was no strong cultivation support, no matter how much talent he had, it would be in vain, and it would be difficult to compare with a real powerhouse. I still have a month to copy a new talent, and the goal for this month is to temper my body and aim for 300 caddies of strength. Yi Tian set a small goal for himself. With a goal, Yi Tian cultivated harder. Moreover, he also initially revealed to the other students that he was able to cultivate the body forging method. After all, many students at the same time as him were also able to cultivate, but he didn't attract much attention. In addition to cultivating, Yi Tian also checked the talents of the entire 5th Academy students, but there were basically no good talents. Except for Chen Dong, the best talents were only elementary talents. Soon, a month passed, and Yi Tian reached his small goal as he wished, achieving the strength of 300 caddies. The speed is still too slow. It would be nice if I could increase my cultivation speed faster. Yi Tian sighed. Walking on the way out of the academy, a voice came. Yi Tian, wait for me. Yi Tian looked back and found that it was Zhang Bao, so he stopped. Yi Tian, have you become a martial apprentice? Zhang Bao asked in a low voice. Yes. Yi Tian nodded. It wasn't difficult to become a martial apprentice. There was nothing to hide, as long as he didn't reveal that he had the power of 300 caddies. Yi Tian, do you want to improve your cultivation faster? Zhang Bao hurriedly asked. Do you have a way? Yi Tian was shocked. Have you ever heard of the blood of the beast? Zhang Bao said. Of course I have. Yi Tian nodded. His parents were also martial artists, so he naturally knew a lot of things that ordinary people didn't know from them. The blood of the beast contained powerful energy, and if it was taken when cultivating the body forging method, it could accelerate the tempering of the body. Unfortunately, his parents were gone, and there was no way to get the blood of the beast. Yi Tian, our talent isn't too good. If we cultivate step by step, we can only hope to be promoted to the martial artist level when we're old. But with the blood of the fierce beast, it's different. Maybe when we're 20 years old, we're expected to step into the martial artist level. And even if we're limited by talent and cannot improve our cultivation, we can live a good life by relying on the strength of a martial artist, Zhang Bao said. That's right, but we can't get the blood of the beast. Yi Tian said helplessly. He also wanted to get the blood of the beast, but he couldn't find a way. Yi Tian, we have a good relationship, so I'll tell you. The 5 colleges of the Linhai base are ready to start a trial, and the high-level leaders of the Linhai base have opened up a small wild area in the wilderness. The fierce beasts in it have all been killed, leaving only some fierce beast descendants. These descendants can't reach the level of fierce beasts in their cultivation, and even ordinary people with weapons can deal with them in the martial apprentice realm. Once you kill a fierce beast descendant, you can exchange the valuable things on it for the beast's blood. And I heard that the first place will also have a mid-level beast blood reward. Zhang Bao said and became envious. Intermediate fierce beast blood. Yi Tian was also moved. An intermediate level fierce beast was a powerful beast that only elite martial artists could kill. Once he had the blood of an intermediate level fierce beast, he had the hope of becoming a martial artist in half a year. How do you know? Yi Tian frowned. He didn't receive any notice. Zhang Bao said triumphantly, I know an old student who has a strength of 500 caddies. I heard it from him. But this trial is a bit dangerous, so the academy didn't notify the students who have just become martial apprentices. Yi Tian, I know the benefits of beast blood better than you. My talent isn't good, but some time ago, my parents spent most of their savings to buy low-level beast blood, and now I've become a martial apprentice with it. Your talent is better than mine. Once you have the blood of the beast, the absorption effect is better, and the cultivation speed is faster. Let's sign up together and form a group for the trial. There's definitely hope to get a piece of fierce beast blood. Zhang Bao tempted. Zhang Bao, you didn't just invite me, right? Yi Tian asked. Of course, you're not the only one invited. We've just stepped into the martial apprentice realm. If we don't join forces, how can we compete with those powerful martial artists? I've already asked for 8 martial apprentices, and they've all agreed, so I'm waiting for you. Zhang Bao showed a look that was sure to be right with him. I'm sorry, I don't really want to form a group. Yi Tian refused. All right then. Zhang Bao showed regret and turned to leave. He was just asking. Yi Tian refused, and that was that. Anyway, Yi Tian had just become a martial apprentice, so he was of little use. However, what Zhang Bao didn't expect was that Yi Tian didn't refuse to participate in the trial, but simply didn't want to form a group. The trial may be my chance. Yi Tian muttered. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for collections, ask for rewards.